Welcome back for another Slippery Bricks video, and this one is a very special treat as I have the Sikorsky MH-60L DAP Blackhawk, a custom design made by none other than Brickmania themselves. Now this is only my second ever Brickmania set. Reason is, if you're familiar with the brand, you know their sets are not cheap to buy. But what I do know is I want a military helicopter in my collection, so that's why I picked this up during a past holiday sale that they had. A Blackhawk was definitely a good choice. It was either this or an Apache. The Blackhawk was mainly used for the United States Army. This particular model, the Razor's Edge, was used more for combat situations as it's armed with a 19-shot rocket pod, a 30mm autocannon, and two 7.62mm electric miniguns, much less for troop transport. Also best known for the Blackhawk that got shot down by an RPG in Somalia during the Battle of Mogadishu, or a good number of us better know it as Black Hawk Down, such a classic military action movie to date, one of my favorites. And speaking of which, while I was doing some research, my knowledge is pretty thin, as I didn't realize Ewan McGregor was in the movie, or even forgot about it. Yep, that young stud of a Padawan is fighting the Sand People early. You have the main rotor. It spins pretty good. The four blades can actually fold in on themselves, so it's good for storage. The tail end can fold in as well. The refueling rod. The infrared camera in the front. Some pros about this set is certainly the appearance of it. That shape and curvature of it looks very cool. And sticker wise, may I please to say, there are no stickers. All the prints are actually print pieces. So for those sticker lovers, you are certainly very relieved about that. My personal favorite would have to be the winch. Whenever I see a set with winches, I get very excited, I get geeked out. But it's also a con as well, because it's hard to place in the string into the set because it's very tight space, and this one is no different. While we're talking cons, this is a all black model, so what can you say? It's a Blackhawk after all, but it's more prone to a lot of like dust and fingerprints. It's definitely more visible, so you're bound to be more motivated to dust this thing and clean it more often, just like my '89 Batmobile that's sitting on the shelf as well. That thing always gets dust like crazy. Well, all sets get dust, but black ones are always much more visible than lighter ones. Building instructions wise, not so bad, not tricky at all, with the exception that there are often steps normally in the beginning where you have pieces all laid down on flat, then you have to add pieces on top. Where I don't like is because these pieces can awfully like move around and not stick together. You know how normally Lego instruction sets have one piece stack up on top of another, and then you keep on building up, whereas a lot of these are like you build one layer first, it's actually just laying it down, and then you add the top layer on it, so it definitely makes it more difficult. And it's all blacks, like I said before, so finding pieces in the giant pile, even though I organized it, is definitely still a challenge to find the right pieces without being very time consuming about it. Very tight spaces for those minifigure pilots. There's barely any room in there, and if you look at the top, it's practically almost touching the ceiling. I think I made a familiar comment with my first Brickmania Humvee set. There's simply no room in the driver's seat. It actually have to remove the wheel in order to fit the minifigure in there, if I remember correctly. The windshield part the build was, I thought was pretty clever, but I just wish that it actually, you were able to see inside the cockpit much better compared to like right now. You can almost see nothing. My biggest complaint most of all about this set is certainly pretty fragile, very sensitive, very fragile. Talk about the wheels specifically. These are very weak, and I have to like, you have no idea how many times they fell off, but just by me touching it or just me lifting the model. It's like this back wheel right here is supposed to be more bent, like more of a 45 degrees, but if I try to do that and lay it down, it's often very weak and it comes off like that. And goes for the front wheels as well. These come off pretty often, and I had to assemble it a lot of times, and certainly a lot of loose pieces too. Maybe I'm having an exception that I'm building something wrong. So if Brickmania, if you're watching this and you think there's something wrong with it, leave a comment down below so I can fix it. But other than that, I think it's very, very sensitive every time I pick this up. I'm almost afraid to every time when I set it down, something is bound to come loose. Well, almost. Quick look at those minifigures. We have 4 in total. 1 pilot, 1 co-pilot, and 2 crew members. We have 4 distinct faces, each different from the other. Pretty serious faces too, and they come with 4 helmets, 1 for each. And the most incredible thing are those amazing printings on the torso, arms, and feet. Very phenomenal, and looks very smooth as well. Front and back views. With the exception of the fragile build, I'm satisfied with what I got in terms of the building process. I've enjoyed that. 4 amazing minifigs. Look how it turned out. Looks amazing looking. More for display purposes than playability. You can certainly play with it with the winch and how you rotate the guns and wise, but I would stick around just to have it on display and to admire rather than play around, or else you'll end up like me having to like fix all these loose pieces over and over, which I did happen to have this almost split apart in half while trying to reposition it to make this video while I have it from different angles. But it's great. So we're gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll hope to see you in the next one. In the meantime, please keep on building. Let me know if you have any Brickmania sets and what do you like about this set or not like about it. See you laters.